Once upon a time, in a far-off land, a curious little squirrel named Squeaky scampered into a mysterious forest. Now, Squeaky wasn't your typical squirrel. He was known for his boundless curiosity and his love for adventures. One day, while chasing a shiny acorn, he found himself at the edge of this unknown woodland, filled with strange sounds and peculiar sights. "Hello everyone, I'm Squeaky," he would say with a bright, infectious smile. "I've always been a curious squirrel, you see. Just couldn't resist chasing that shiny acorn. And now, here I am, in the heart of a forest I've never seen before." As he ventured deeper into the forest, Squeaky noticed the peculiarities around him. The trees were taller and more twisted than those back home, their branches reaching out like long, gnarled fingers. The leaves rustled with a strange, ethereal melody, unlike any he had heard before. "The trees here are so tall and twisty, and the leaves, oh, they sing such a strange song," Squeaky exclaimed, his eyes wide with wonder and a smidge of trepidation. "It's different and a little scary, but also really exciting." As he scampered along, he came across plants he had never seen before, their colors more vibrant and their shapes more peculiar than anything he had ever encountered. They seemed to glow with a magical light, adding to the forest's mysterious allure. "Look at these plants," Squeaky would chirp, his face lighting up with awe. "They're so vibrant and unusual. I wonder what other secrets this forest holds." Every new sight, every unfamiliar sound, every strange scent added to the suspense and excitement of his journey. The forest was mysterious, yes, but it was also filled with a sense of wonder and adventure that Squeaky couldn't resist. And so, with a heart full of curiosity and a spirit brimming with bravery, our little friend Squeaky decided to delve deeper into the heart of the forest. With a deep breath, Squeaky decided to explore the mysterious forest, not knowing what adventures awaited him. As Squeaky scurried further into the forest, he stumbled upon an old wise tree that could talk. Yes, you heard it right, a talking tree. Now this wasn't just any old tree, it was Barkley, the elder of the forest. Barkley had seen many sunrises and sunsets, had felt the touch of countless seasons, and had stories to tell that could fill a library. "Hello, little one," Barkley greeted, his voice deep and rich like the earth itself. "I've been standing here for centuries, watching the world change around me. I've seen creatures big and small, and oh, the tales I could tell you." Barkley was a grand storyteller, captivating Squeaky with tales of majestic creatures and magical happenings. He spoke of the wonders of the forest, the shimmering lake that mirrored the moonlight, the ancient caves that held secrets of the past, and the tallest hill that touched the sky. But with the beauty, Barkley also warned, came danger. He told Squeaky about a mischievous goblin who loved nothing more than to cause trouble for the inhabitants of the forest. "He's a sly one, that goblin," Barkley said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Always up to no good. He likes to play tricks and cause confusion, so be cautious, little one." Squeaky listened to Barkley's words, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and fear. He was a little mouse in a big forest, but he was not alone. He had Barkley's wisdom to guide him. Barkley gave Squeaky a warm smile, his barky face somehow managing to convey reassurance. "Remember, Squeaky, the forest can be as friendly as it is wild. Respect its rules and it will embrace you. Disrespect them and, well, let's just say you don't want to find out." Armed with Barkley's advice, Squeaky braved himself to face whatever lay ahead. His tiny heart was filled with courage, ready to face the adventure that awaited him in this magical forest. Just as Barkley had warned, Squeaky soon encountered the mischievous goblin Gobbo, who loved to play tricks on the forest dwellers. Gobbo, with his pointy ears and wide grin, was always up to no good. He was known throughout the forest for his love of mischief and pranks. Now his eyes twinkled with excitement as he spotted Squeaky scampering through the forest. "Ah, a new playmate," Gobbo chuckled to himself, rubbing his hands together. He quickly set about creating a trap for Squeaky, a pit cleverly hidden under a pile of leaves. "Come over here, Squeaky," Gobbo called out, trying to lure Squeaky towards the trap. "I found the most delicious acorns." Squeaky paused, his nose twitching as he glanced towards the smiling goblin. The advice of Barkley, the wise old tree, echoed in his mind. "Be wary of Gobbo, the mischievous goblin. He loves to play tricks." Squeaky looked at Gobbo, then at the pile of leaves that seemed to be hiding something. He decided to play it safe, Instead of scampering towards Gobbo, he picked up a stone and tossed it towards the pile of leaves. With a loud thump, the stone revealed Gobbo's trap, the pit now gaping open for all to see. Gobbo gasped, his wide grin replaced by a look of surprise. He hadn't expected Squeaky to outsmart him. His tricks had always worked before. "But how did you know?" Gobbo stammered, looking at Squeaky with disbelief. Squeaky simply winked at Gobbo, his tail twitching with amusement. "A little bird told me," he said, referring to Barkley's earlier warning. Gobbo could only watch as Squeaky scampered away, his laughter echoing through the forest. The mischievous goblin was left standing there, his trap revealed and his plan foiled. With a triumphant squeak, Squeaky scampered away, leaving a very surprised Gobbo behind. After the encounter with Gobbo, Squeaky realized he was lost and needed to find his way back home. Imagine being a tiny mouse like Squeaky in a vast, mysterious forest far from the comfort of your own little burrow. It's quite a predicament, isn't it? But our furry friend didn't let fear get the best of him. No, Squeaky was made of sterner stuff. With his heart pounding but his spirit unwavering, Squeaky decided to use his wits and courage to navigate through the forest, turning a daunting task into an exciting adventure. As Squeaky ventured deeper into the forest, he found himself facing various obstacles. There were towering trees with gnarled roots that seemed impossible to climb, swift rivers that threatened to sweep him away, and thorny bushes that stood like prickly walls. But with each challenge, Squeaky found a way to overcome it. He used fallen twigs as ladders, leaves as boats, and even befriended a friendly hedgehog who helped him through the thickest of thorns. But it wasn't all danger and excitement. Along the way, Squeaky also learned more about the forest and its inhabitants. He discovered that the forest was not just a place of mystery and danger, but also a home to countless creatures, each with their own stories and secrets. He met the chirpy birds, the buzzing bees, the whispering willows, and the silent owls. Each encounter enriched Squeaky's journey and made him realize that he was part of a much larger world. As the day turned into night, Squeaky found himself standing in front of a familiar sight. A tiny hill with a small hole that led to his cozy burrow. He had made it. He had navigated through the forest, faced its challenges, and found his way back home. Finally, with the forest's help, Squeaky finds his way back home. A journey that began with fear and uncertainty ended with joy and newfound knowledge. Squeaky had found his way home, but in doing so, he also discovered a whole new world within the forest, a world that he would continue to explore and learn from. Exhausted but happy, Squeaky finally reached his cozy tree hole, greeted by his worried family. Squeaky's heart was full as he entered his home, the familiar smell of pine and acorn filling his senses. His family surrounded him, their eyes wide with anticipation and relief. He had been on an adventure, a journey through the mysterious forest, and they had waited anxiously for his return. "Now, gather round," Squeaky began, his voice resonating with warmth and excitement. "Let me tell you about my incredible adventure." His siblings squealed with joy, nestling closer to hear his story. "I met a talking tree," he started, his eyes sparkling with the memory. "He was wise and kind. He taught me that bravery isn't about being fearless. It's about facing our fears and standing tall, just like a tree." His mother nodded, her eyes filled with pride. His father patted his head, a silent gesture of approval. Squeaky continued, his voice steady and sure. "Then I met a mischievous goblin, the room filled with gasps of surprise. He was tricky and cunning, but he taught me an important lesson. Wisdom isn't about knowing everything. It's about using what we know to make the right decisions." His siblings listened, their eyes wide with awe. They clung to his every word, hanging on to the lessons he had learned. Squeaky smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. He had faced challenges, but he had also gained invaluable knowledge. "And finally, I found my way home thanks to the power of friendship." His voice softened, filled with gratitude. "I met creatures who were different from us, but they helped me when I needed it the most. They taught me that friendship knows no boundaries. It's about kindness, trust, and mutual respect." His family clapped, their faces glowing with admiration. Squeaky had not only returned home safely, but also brought back valuable lessons from his journey. And so, Squeaky learned that every adventure, no matter how scary, is an opportunity to learn something new. Good night, Squeaky. Until the next adventure.